So we all know that Futurama is leaving Cartoon Network's Adult Swim on December 26th, the day after Christmas, Boxing Day. Well, I just heard that Dexter's Laboratory is coming back to Cartoon Network, and apparently is going to be taking Futurama's place. Yes, so Dexter's Laboratory will return at 5 and 5:30 as Futurama's replacement on Cartoon Network, starting December 29th. Not this coming week, but the week after Christmas, the New Year's Day week. Now, does this mean that Dexter's Laboratory is going to be on the Adult Swim block, or is Cartoon Planet going to return? Because Dexter's Laboratory was a part of the Cartoon Planet block that aired on Adult Swim, along with the other classic Cartoon Network shows. So, just to make sure, I checked, and Cartoon Planet is not returning. Once Cartoon Planet ended, that was it. So Cartoon Planet is not coming back. So it sounds like Dexter is going to be part of Cartoon Network's Adult Swim block, but it's just not going to be part of Cartoon Planet. This is my thing. Okay, it's great that Dexter's Lab is coming back. Okay, cool, fine. But it doesn't feel right to air Dexter on Adult Swim, because Dexter is a kid's show. It's not an adult cartoon. So it's going to be weird, and it's not going to feel right for Dexter to be a part of Adult Swim. And even with Dexter coming back at 5 and 5:30 once Futurama is gone again for the second time, Adult Swim's schedule is still repetitive, and Adult Swim sucks. So F Adult Swim, like I said, I'm done with them, and they suck. Despite having Dexter come back at 5 and 5:30, they're still going to be showing the constant reruns of Bob's Burgers and Family Guy, and then they'll air Rick and Morty at 11:30, and then sometimes Rick and Morty will come on at 10:30 and 11, or 10:30, 11, 11:30. So I don't like this one bit that Adult Swim is still going to be repetitive. And then a user by the name of @SomeWallyFan, who left a comment on my video when I talked about Futurama leaving Adult Swim again for the second time. This person pretty much told me that Adult Swim is constantly airing Bob's Burgers and Family Guy because, you know, this person's saying that they're thinking it's best for their ratings, and there's nothing that I can do about it. Honestly, I don't care if they're doing this for their ratings. I really don't. Plus, I find it ignorant and stupid for them to actually think that constantly airing reruns of Bob's Burgers and Family Guy helps their channel, because it doesn't. It sounds ignorant and stupid. How is it helping the network when really it's ruining the ratings when you're constantly airing Bob's Burgers and Family Guy episodes? They gotta spice it up with this schedule. I'm sorry. And you said that there's nothing that I can do about it. Yeah, you're probably right. But you know what? I don't give up. I don't care. Okay? I'm gonna go down swinging. I care for Adult Swim to do better. Okay? I care for them to do better, because this isn't right. They gotta branch it out besides constantly airing reruns of Bob's Burgers and Family Guy. So no offense to you as some Wally fan, I hear what you're saying, but I'm sorry. I'm gonna continue feeling this way because I don't give up, and I'm gonna go down swinging. Okay? I want to feel this way because I'm sick and tired of Adult Swim's repetitive schedule. Some Wally fan also replied back a few days ago telling me that apparently Nicktoons Network is back to being Nick's SpongeBob because they got rid of reruns of the Loud House. Why? I have no clue. Although they're still showing like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and some other shows on Nicktoons Network, but they're still constantly airing reruns of SpongeBob. What is going on with Nicktoons Network? Just continue to remove the Loud House. I don't get it. Do they got something against the Loud House? And also, it still ain't Nick SpongeBob unless Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the other shows that air are permanently not on Nicktoons Network. It's not Nick SpongeBob unless they go back to airing constant reruns of SpongeBob, which I hope they don't. So I get what you're saying, but it still doesn't help Nicktoons Network's reruns that they're constantly airing reruns of SpongeBob in less shows. Okay? Why are they so worried about their ratings? F their ratings. F Nicktoons Network and F Cartoon Network's Adult Swim's repetitive scheduling. I'm sick and tired of it. It's not helping the ratings, it's hurting the ratings. In fact, I hope and pray Adult Swim's ratings do get worse. I want their ratings to get worse so they can end up possibly being removed from Cartoon Network. Maybe it's time for them to have their own channel. and just make Cartoon Network a 24/7 network like it was back in the 90s and even 2000 until Adult Swim arrived in 2001. Ain't nothing wrong with Cartoon Network having to be back a 24/7 channel again. Heck, you might as well remove Nick at Night from Nickelodeon. Make Nickelodeon a 24/7 channel. At this point, you don't need Nick at Night because all they do is air the same sitcoms that air on other networks. That's like Nick at Night airing episodes of SpongeBob when Nick at Night mainly airs live action sitcoms. And SpongeBob ain't no live action sitcom. It's a cartoon. You get what I'm saying? And going back to Dexter's Laboratory, I'm sorry, it doesn't fit Adult Swim because Adult Swim is known to air adult cartoons. You got some adult cartoons that features nudity, certain cursing, violence, especially shows that want to have gore, which I don't get down with. You know, there'll be certain violence where characters get stabbed and throats get slit and whatnot. Like, you're not going to see that in Dexter's Laboratory. Sure, there'll be like, you know, action and fights and stuff, but not to that level, like, you know, from Family Guy and, you know, etc. And yeah, we've seen like moments where Dexter gets naked, but it's not like we'll see his penis showing. And plus, the characters in the show don't curse. Well, besides that one episode, Rude Removal, the episode that never aired on Cartoon Network, but it's posted on YouTube. That episode features the rude clones of Dexter and Dee Dee, where they go around cursing, just straight up disrespecting Dexter and Dee Dee's mom. That episode never aired because the rude clones of Dexter and Dee Dee were cursing. Now, obviously, they censored it, where you won't hear the actual curse words, but still, it never aired. And some people probably say, well, how come that episode got banned and never aired on Cartoon Network? But when it comes to SpongeBob's Sailor Mouth, that episode aired and it still airs through reruns to this day, and it was cancer too. And you know what, that's a good point. I don't know what happened where SpongeBob's Sailor Mouth's episode gets a pass, but not Dexter's Lab's Rude Removal. But yeah, the rude clones of Dexter and Dee Dee, they cursed so bad that the rude clone of Dexter cursed at the mom. Not only did he like spit in her face, but she fainted. She passed out because she couldn't believe that she would hear her own son, who's not really Dexter, but the rude version of Dexter. She couldn't believe that she would ever hear her own child curse at her, where it caused her to faint. Then the second time she fainted when Dexter talked back at her, because he asked her, why? Do you have more to yourself? And so she couldn't believe that she heard her own child talk back at her, that it caused her to pass out and faint again. Oh, that poor, hot, red-headed, big booty woman. It's bad enough she fainted the first time, but then she fainted the second time when she heard the rude version of Dexter talk back at her. Oh, poor Dexter and Dee Dee's mom. And then towards the end, she washed the real Dexter and Dee Dee's mouths off with soap. No, seriously, she actually used an actual real soap. She actually used some real soap to actually wash out their mouths. And then towards the end, the actual Dexter says, oh, S-H-I-T, but obviously it was censored. This is a pretty funny episode, and I actually couldn't believe that we actually heard the rude versions of Dexter and Dee Dee curse. Now, and who's to say, maybe Adult Swim might air that rude removal episode now that Dexter's gonna be a part of Adult Swim. I mean, I don't see why not. Either way, it still doesn't feel right for Dexter to be part of the Adult Swim block. Maybe Cartoon Network should at least push Adult Swim back to 6 o'clock, at least. That way Dexter can be on at 5 and 5:30 on Cartoon Network. But it's probably not going to happen. Adult Swim really should go back to like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, because this is ridiculous. And Nick at Night needs to go back at least like 9 o'clock, because them coming on early at 7 is ridiculous. And I'm looking at their schedule, like for tonight, starting at 7 o'clock, they air Friends. And they air Friends for like 4 hours from 7 o'clock to 11 p.m. Okay? Then you got the Big Bang Theory come on at 11 p.m. to like 1:55 a.m. So pretty much like 2.5 hours at least. But then they showing Friends again 2 more times, and I'm like, oh my god, why are they showing Friends so much? Why is Nick and Nite sucking the lives out of Friends? They sucking the sauce out of Friends. It's ridiculous. Listen, I like Friends, but it's ridiculous when Nick and Nite is constantly airing Friends so freaking much. They're showing them 10 freaking times. Are you kidding me? That is so selfish and so unfair. It ain't right that they airing The Big Bang Theory so much too. And then after they show Friends 2 more times, they show Modern Family reruns 4 times. Okay, now you airing Modern Family too much. I love Modern Family, but why y'all airing Modern Family so much? And then lastly, they air 2 reruns of the show The Neighborhood, the show that currently originally airs on CBS, which the show is currently in its 8th and final season on CBS. Yeah, that show that stars Cedric the Entertainer, Tashina Arnold, who was on Martin Lawrence's show Martin, and Beth Bears, who was Caroline on Two Broke Girls. And it seems like Nick at Night airs Friends twice, you know, later on that night after The Big Bang Theory. It seems like they do that 5 days a week, but then they have the other 2 days where they don't constantly show them again, you know, the second time as the night goes on. But either way, this is ridiculous to be airing Friends that much, and also The Big Bang Theory and Modern Family, but it's mainly Friends. This is ridiculous. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. You guys tell me your thoughts on Dexter's Laboratory returning as Futurama's replacement on Adult Swim. How do you feel about Dexter returning but being a part of Adult Swim, even though it's a kid's show and not an adult show? All right, that's it. See you later.